The transmission came on a Tuesday. Of course it would be a Tuesday. Nobody likes Tuesdays. At United Earth Defense Headquarters, alarms blared as screens flickered to life with an image that would forever change humanity's place in the cosmos. A bluish-purple face appeared, elongated with 3 sets of eyes arranged vertically. The being had what could generously be called a mouth, though it looked more like a sideways zipper. Is this thing on the alien tapped what appeared to be a console? Ah, yes. Greetings, primitive carbon-based lifeforms of Sol 3. I am High Commander Zoltar of the Galactic Confederation, though you may simply call us the Galatrons. The alien's mouth zipper curved into what was probably a smile. We've been observing your quaint little civilization for some time now. Admiral Jack Fletcher stared at the screen, coffee mug frozen halfway to his lips. Someone tell me this is a prank. Tech specialist Quinn Martinez frantically typed commands into her terminal. Signal origin is, sir, it's coming from somewhere beyond Pluto. This is no prank. The alien continued, its tone dripping with condescension. In accordance with Galactic Protocol 7,012,000, we are required to inform lesser species when they are scheduled for. Let's call it assessment. We have placed what you might understand as a Doomsday device somewhere on your planet. It will activate in precisely 72 of your Earth hours. Fletcher slammed his mug down. Get me the President. Now. Don't bother trying to find it, Zoltar continued. The technology is beyond your comprehension. Even if you stumbled upon it by accident, tampering would simply accelerate the countdown. The alien's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. Consider this a test. The results will determine whether your species is classified as potentially useful or cosmically irrelevant. Good luck, humans. You'll need it. Within an hour, every major government was in emergency session. The United Nations Security Council convened while social media exploded with panicked hashtags and conspiracy theories. Doomsday cults suddenly found themselves with waiting lists. In the White House Situation Room, Fletcher paced while Martinez compiled data on a holographic display. Tell me something useful, Martinez. She pushed her glasses up her nose. The transmission contained embedded data packets. I've isolated a radiation signature unlike anything in our database. It's faint, but distinct. The President leaned forward. Can we track it? Martinez nodded. Theoretically. But we'd need specialized equipment and expertise beyond standard military protocol. Then we build a team, Fletcher said. The best we've got, conventional or not. I don't care if they're from IMITE or Area 51, as long as they can help find this thing. The President's eyes narrowed. You have full authority, Admiral. Whatever resources you need, just find that device. As Fletcher left the room, his phone buzzed with another incoming transmission. Zoltar's face appeared, now munching on something that looked disturbingly like blue popcorn. Oh, I forgot to mention, the aliens said between crunches. We're streaming your response to this situation across 17 star systems. Great entertainment value. The betting pools on your extinction are quite active. Zoltar waved cheerfully. How cute you're learning. Carry on. Fletcher's jaw clenched. Humanity had just become galactic reality TV, and cancellation was definitely an option. 8 hours after first contact, Fletcher stood before the hastily assembled team in a repurposed NASA hangar. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Operation Humanity's Last Stand. Not my choice of name, but apparently the Pentagon has a sense of humor. Dr. Lena Novak glanced up from her tablet. At 34, she was already a Nobel laureate in quantum physics with a reputation for solving the unsolvable. I was told this was a matter of planetary security, not a bad sci-fi movie. Beside her, Rex Daniels bounced on his heels, his janitor's uniform replaced with ill-fitting tactical gear. I've been saying aliens were real for years. No one believed me. Who's crazy now? Barbara from HR. Who's crazy now? Fletcher pinched the bridge of his nose. Mr. Daniels was included because he discovered unusual radiation readings during his janitorial duties at Los Alamos. Unique perspectives might be valuable. Commander Dax stood ramrod straight, her expression unreadable. With respect, sir, why am I here? I'm a combat specialist, not a scientist. Because if we find this thing, we might need someone who can disarm it without triggering failsafes. Your EOD experience makes you perfect. Martinez displayed a holographic map of North America with a pulsing red area highlighted. We've triangulated the radiation signature to a 100-mile radius in central Montana. Montana Rex's eyes widened. That tracks with my theory about subterranean alien bases in the northern Rockies. I documented anomalous energy readings there in 2019, but the government forum moderators banned my account. Dr. Novak rolled her eyes. Yes, clearly the aliens chose Montana for its strategic value and not because it's literally the middle of nowhere. Fletcher cleared his throat. Transport leaves in 30 minutes. Pack for cold weather. As they prepared to depart, another transmission arrived. Zoltar appeared, now wearing what looked suspiciously like a Hawaiian shirt. Hello again, doomed Earthlings. Just checking in. Our viewership has reached record numbers. You're more popular than the methane-breathing slug races of Betelgeuse U-7 the alien sipped from a coconut with multiple straws. Oh, and to make things more interesting, we've included a little hint your primitive fossil fuel extraction sites might be worth investigating. Though I doubt you'll make the connection. Your species barely understood fire a few millennia ago. Dr. Novak's eyes narrowed. He's underestimating us deliberately. Good, Fletcher said. Let's use that. On the flight to Montana, Martinez and Novak adapted satellite systems to detect the alien radiation signature with greater precision. Rex contributed by taping his collection of evidence to the cabin wall, creating what he called a conspiracy mind map. Surprisingly, one of his notes caught Novak's attention. Wait, go back to that newspaper clipping about the abandoned mines. Rex grinned. The Blackfoot Ridge mines. Closed in 1989 after unexplained equipment failures that I believe were actually alien intervention. Yes, Novak interrupted. But what matters is the location. It's directly in our search grid and matches the fossil fuel extraction hint. Commander Dax studied the tactical approach on her tablet. The mines are on private property now. Some tech billionaire bought the land for a Doomsday bunker. Fletcher's phone buzzed again. Zoltar appeared with multiple aliens now watching over his shoulder. 60 hours remaining. We're taking bets on whether you'll spend your final days rioting or praying. Either way, highly entertaining. Fletcher turned off the phone. Let's disappoint our audience, shall we? The team's Black Hawk helicopter descended into a clearing near Blackfoot Ridge as snow began to fall. A rusted sign reading "No trespassing" flapped in the wind. Beyond it stood a collection of dilapidated mining structures and a single well-maintained modern cabin. Charming, Dr. Novak muttered, zipping her parka higher. As they approached the cabin, the door burst open. A bearded man in flannel aimed a shotgun their direction. Government types, eh? Finally come to admit the truth about the chemtrails. Rex stepped forward. Actually, we're here about the aliens. The man immediately lowered his weapon. Well, why didn't you say so? Name's Hank. Been tracking extraterrestrial activity in these parts for 20 years. Fletcher exchanged glances with Dax. We need access to the old mine shafts. Sure thing. Just sign my alien disclosure petition first. 30 minutes and one absurd petition later, they stood at the mine entrance. Martinez's handheld detector beeped steadily. Signals strongest from the north shaft. About half a mile in. Hank shook his head. That shaft collapsed back in '87. Or so they claimed. I always figured it was a cover-up. For once, the conspiracy theorists might be right, Novak said, calibrating her equipment. They proceeded into the mine, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Rex rattled off facts about previous alien incursions, while Dax scouted ahead for structural weaknesses. According to my research, the Galatrons have visited Earth 6 times. They're classified as Type I observers in the Galactic Registry, which means that you should stop talking before I push you into a pit, Commander Dax suggested. Martinez's detector suddenly screamed. We're close. Around the next bend, they found it a sleek, obsidian-colored sphere about the size of a beach ball, hovering 6 inches off the ground. Pulsing blue lights traced incomprehensible patterns across its surface. Nobody touch it, Fletcher ordered. Naturally, Rex immediately reached out. Wait, I recognize this configuration from. Dax tackled him before he could make contact, but his backpack brushed against the sphere. Instantly, the blue patterns turned red, and a holographic countdown appeared: 36, now rapidly ticking down. Wonderful, Dr. Novak deadpanned. We've cut our time in half. The sphere projected Zoltar's face. Oh ho, you found it sooner than expected. Consider us impressed. Marginally. But triggering the acceleration protocol. Classic primitive mistake. The alien's multiple eyes crinkled with amusement. Our viewers are loving this. The surprise twist has boosted ratings across the Andromeda sector. Fletcher stepped forward. We demand you remove this device immediately. Or what? You'll throw rocks at our spaceship, Zoltar laughed. Your species hasn't even achieved sustainable fusion power. What could you possibly do to threaten us? As the transmission ended, Rex was rummaging through his backpack. Guys, I think I know what this is. It matches descriptions from the Roswell incident, specifically the energy converter that had allegedly powered the... Not now, Rex Fletcher began, but Novak held up her hand. Actually, let him finish. Rex pulled out a dog-eared notebook. The device isn't destroying Earth directly. It's a dimensional resonance amplifier. It creates cascading quantum fluctuations in the planet's core. Everyone stared at him. What? I audit physics classes at community college. Novak examined her readings. He's not entirely wrong. This is creating some kind of quantum field effect. The principles are similar to our experimental zero-point energy research, just centuries more advanced. From the sphere, Zoltar's voice echoed, enjoying the show. Viewers, watch as the humans poke at technology they can't possibly comprehend. Dax's stoic expression cracked slightly. They're monitoring us. Good, Novak said quietly. Let them watch. Back at Hank's cabin, converted into an impromptu command center, Dr. Novak spread out her calculations across the kitchen table. The device operates on principles we're already exploring. It's not magic, it's just very, very advanced physics. Fletcher paced by the window. Can we disarm it? Better, Novak's eyes gleamed. We can repurpose it. Martinez looked up from her laptop. You mean reverse engineering alien tech in less than 36 hours? Exactly. The quantum signatures are compatible with our experimental CERN protocols. We're not starting from zero, we're just skipping a few decades of RD. Rex, who had been surprisingly quiet, suddenly spoke up. What if we don't need to understand all of it? We just need to make them think we do. Everyone turned to stare at him again. In every alien invasion movie, the aliens underestimate humans. That's their weakness. They think we're primitive monkeys. But we've got something they don't. Dax raised an eyebrow. And that is unpredictability. Creativity. The ability to make terrible decisions that somehow work out. Fletcher's eyes narrowed. You might be onto something. Martinez, can you establish two-way communication with the Galatrons? Already working on it, sir. Their signal has a quantum entanglement component we can piggyback on. Good. Keep them talking. The longer, the better. Within hours, Fletcher was speaking directly to an increasingly irritated Zoltar, while the others worked feverishly behind him, out of the alien's view. I just don't understand your rating system, Fletcher said, feigning confusion. Is cosmically irrelevant better or worse than potentially useful? Zoltar sighed dramatically. For the 7th time, potentially useful means you get to live as a protectorate species. Cosmically irrelevant means your planet becomes available for resource extraction. But what's the criteria? Is it purely technological, cultural, biological diversity? All of the above, plus factors your primitive brain couldn't possibly. And these other 17 systems watching us. Do they get a vote, or is this strictly a Galatron decision? Meanwhile, Novak and Martinez had partially disassembled equipment from their helicopter, combining it with components from Hank's surprisingly well-equipped basement workshop. Rex contributed his collection of alien tech, which turned out to be mostly repurposed kitchen appliances, but occasionally included genuinely useful components. Commander Dax worked on a separate project involving the helicopter's missile targeting system and a modified satellite dish. 24 hours before detonation, Novak finally nodded to Fletcher, who was still engaging Zoltar in meaningless diplomatic circles. So about the Galactic Confederation bylaws regarding first contact protocols. Enough, Zoltar exploded. This conversation is pointless. You're clearly stalling, though I can't imagine why. Your fate is sealed. Fletcher smiled. Actually, I think it's time we showed you what we've been working on. Fletcher stepped aside to reveal Dr. Novak standing next to what appeared to be a cobbled-together device featuring the helicopter's navigation system, parts of Hank's microwave, and Rex's enhanced ham radio. What is that supposed to be? Zoltar laughed. A primitive communication device. Novak smiled thinly. Not exactly. We call it a quantum field replicator. It's based on your Doomsday device's principles, just modified for a different application. Zoltar's 3 sets of eyes blinked in sequence. Impossible. You couldn't possibly understand the technology, let alone replicate it. Understand it? No, repurpose it. Absolutely, she activated the device, which emitted a pulsing blue light remarkably similar to the alien spheres. You see, we've learned that your device creates quantum fluctuations in our planet's core. Interesting approach. Efficient. Martinez stepped forward. But we discovered something you overlooked. Those same fluctuations create quantum entanglement nodes that can be redirected. Rex added, like bouncing a signal off a satellite dish, except with reality warping energy. Zoltar's confidence visibly faltered. This is a bluff. You're a pre-space travel civilization. You still use combustion engines for star's sake. Fletcher smiled. Commander Dax, would you show our friends the targeting system? Dax activated her modified satellite dish, which projected a holographic star map. A red targeting reticle centered on a point in space. That's the current location of your observation vessel, Fletcher said casually. Cloaked, but not invisible to quantum entanglement tracking. How did you? Zoltar sputtered. You wanted to test us? Consider this our response. Fletcher stepped forward, his voice hardening. Here's humanity's answer to your little assessment we learn. Quickly. You gave us technology beyond our development stage, and in less than 3 days we weaponized it against you. Novak adjusted a dial. We've established a feedback loop. If your device activates, the quantum resonance will be redirected to the coordinates of your ship. You'll experience the same fate you planned for us. This is unprecedented. Zoltar turned to speak with unseen colleagues off-screen, their voices raised in alien language. Fletcher continued, We've transmitted this technology to every major government on Earth. Even if you destroy us, dozens of these devices will activate, targeting every Galatron outpost we've identified through the quantum link. This was, of course, complete nonsense. The device was largely non-functional, more theatrical prop than quantum weapon. But the fear in Zoltar's eyes suggested the bluff was working. You should know, Fletcher added, that humanity has a saying: we don't negotiate with terrorists, but we're always open to mutually beneficial arrangements. Zoltar returned to the screen. This technology transfer was not authorized. A full review will be conducted. I'm sure your 17 star systems of viewers would be interested in how this episode concludes, Fletcher said. Personally, I'm hoping for a season renewal rather than a series finale. The alien commander's mouth zipper twisted in what might have been a grimace. We will. Reconsider Earth's classification. Stand by for updated assessment. The transmission cut off. Martinez let out a long breath. Do you think they bought it? Fletcher glanced at the countdown, still ticking away. We'll know in 23 hours and 14 minutes. The team waited through the longest night of their lives. Hank supplied coffee and increasingly implausible alien conspiracy theories. Rex added his own, creating an impromptu competition for most outlandish scenario. At T-1 hour, the obsidian sphere in the mine shaft suddenly powered down. The countdown froze, then disappeared. Moments later, Zoltar's transmission returned. After careful deliberation, the Galactic Confederation has reclassified Earth from assessment pending to monitored non-intervention status. The alien commander looked distinctly uncomfortable. Our device will self-neutralize, leaving no harmful radiation or quantum disruption. Fletcher kept his expression neutral. And the reason for this change? Your species has demonstrated unexpected problem-solving capabilities. Zoltar cleared his throat, or whatever passed for it in alien physiology. The Executive Viewing Council was particularly impressed by your adaptive-tology integration. Dr. Novak crossed her arms. In other words, we passed your test. Not exactly. Zoltar's mouth zipper formed a tight line. You exceeded parameters. Assessment protocols have been amended for future encounters with similar species. Commander Dax smiled slightly. You're saying we broke your system? Recalibrated. We recalibrated the system. Zoltar's composure was rapidly deteriorating. A formal delegation will contact your United Nations within one standard galactic cycle to discuss potential membership in the Confederation's emerging intelligence program. We look forward to it, Fletcher said. Though next time, perhaps skip the Doomsday device and just send an email. The transmission ended. For a moment the cabin was silent. Then Rex whooped loudly, pulling Hank into an enthusiastic dance around the kitchen. Martinez collapsed into a chair. I can't believe that worked. It almost didn't, Novak admitted. Our device couldn't have redirected a quantum fart, let alone a planet-destroying resonance cascade. Fletcher grinned. They don't need to know that. 3 months later, a formal delegation from the Galactic Confederation arrived in low Earth orbit. Their initial diplomatic package included technology guides, cultural exchange protocols, and an apology gift basket containing what appeared to be space fruit. Admiral Fletcher, now heading the newly formed Extraterrestrial Relations Division, stood before the United Nations Security Council. The Galatrons have reclassified us as a deceptively advanced species. Apparently, we're the only civilization to ever turn one of their assessment devices against them. They've developed a healthy respect for human ingenuity, if not our technological level. The Secretary General leaned forward. And the device itself? Dr. Novak's team has been studying it. The technology is centuries beyond us, but the principles are comprehensible. We've already adapted some components for our energy grid. Preliminary tests show a 4000% increase in efficiency. Across the galaxy, Zoltar faced his own review board. View screen ratings had skyrocketed, but protocol violations were numerous. In conclusion, he finished his report. I recommend all future interactions with humans include significant safety buffers and technological containment protocols. Their ability to repurpose advanced technology without understanding its principles makes them uniquely unpredictable. The High Commissioner nodded gravely. Your assessment is noted. Humanity will be classified under Appendix 7 Delta, primitive but dangerous. As the meeting adjourned, one of Zoltar's aides approached with a data tablet. Sir, our monitoring satellites have detected unusual activity at the human research facility containing our neutralized device. What kind of activity? They've improved it, sir. Improved? That's impossible. The aide displayed footage showing Dr. Novak and her team working on a modified version of the sphere, now connected to a power grid and glowing with enhanced efficiency. Zoltar's multiple eyes widened. How cute, he murmured, though his tone conveyed something closer to alarm than condescension. They're learning. Behind him, a betting pool on humanity's Galactic Confederation application had already opened. The odds were shifting rapidly in Earth's favor.